Hello everyone, welcome back to the TAPED podcast, the most corrupt podcast in the world. We are your hosts, as always, myself, MickyT.
And me, Nostalgia.
And today we're going to be doing something that we haven't done in nearly a year, since the first episode, really. We're just doing a casual, no script conversation type thing, and we're just going to be talking about the Grammys. Recently, the nominations for the Grammys were released, and we're just going to give our thoughts, opinions. We're going to talk about our predictions for specific categories. We won't be able to cover them all because we don't have a lot to comment on, but there is stuff that we are interested in talking about.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a bit of fun. It's going to be fun.
Fuck yeah, let's go. The chamois.
The chamois. Justice for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit. Not a single one.
Literally, come on, After Hours was a big album for him. That should have at least got him at least one nomination. He had some massive singles over the year as well. Like Blinding Lights was one of the biggest songs.
Is probably the biggest song of the year. And literally, it was nowhere to be seen.
Literally, it's one of the biggest songs of the year.
It's probably the biggest song of the year, let's be honest.
Yeah. There's obviously big tracks that were all over this year in the general field, of course, but he's not even in any of the R&B categories.
Nowhere.
What is this?
Nowhere.
It's and to be fair, that's just they did him dirty with that. But with that out of the way, I think we'll just get right into the general field with record of the year. And
you read out the first one, and then I'll read out the next one, the nominees.
Yeah. All right. The record of the year. The nominees for this one were Beyonce with Black Parade, Black Pumas with Colors, DaBaby with Rockstar, Dojika with Say So, Billie Eilish with Everything I Wanted, Dua Lipa with Don't Start Now, Post Malone with Circles, and Megan Thee Stallion with Savage. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't mind who wins this category because we do have a pretty decent lineup here. I definitely I think most of these songs were pretty good throughout the year. I especially think that that Don't Start Now and Circles in particular are tracks that I would love to win. But even if they don't win, I definitely wouldn't mind if Rockstar, Say So, or Savage won. But I think with Beyonce being nominated for so many categories this year, there may be a bit of bias there. So I'm thinking she may sweep a few. But for this one, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I think the one I'd want to win most is probably Circles or Don't Start Now. But for this one, I honestly don't mind who wins because most of these songs are pretty good.
Yeah, so anyone who knows me knows that I'm a big fan of that new Dua Lipa album. It's my favorite pop album of the year, probably. And Don't Start Now is by far the best song on that album. It's probably the best pop song I've heard in a long time, and I would be fucking over the moon if this won Record of the Year or any of the other categories it was nominated for. I think it's a brilliant song. That being said, I wouldn't mind if Post Malone took it. Circles was, I think, an underrated track. Doja Cat's Say So was a decent track. Rockstar was fine. Black Parade was fine. Black Pumas, I don't believe I've heard that track. But I do think, I have an inkling that I think Megan Thee Stallion might pull off on a lesser scale what Billie Eilish did last year and just kind of take home a bunch of Grammys. I think WAP just further pushed her into the spotlight, but her name has kind of been building up for a while now. I really think she's gonna I think she's gonna take this one, her and Beyonce.
That would yeah, I could see that because Savage was actually a really good song. It was the best off of that EP she put out.
Yeah,
and it's been everywhere. Most of these songs have been everywhere. So either way, it's going to be a tough one to think. But like I said, I wouldn't mind if Don't Start Now or Circles won.
Yeah, I agree. I'm praying for Don't Start Now though. Come on, Dua Lipa.
All right. You gonna read out the next category?
Yeah, I'm scrolling down. Album of the year, the big one. We have Chilombo by Jhené Aiko. If I'm being honest, have no clue what that is. Black Pumas, Everyday Life, Coldplay, Jessie Volume 3 by Jacob Collier, Women in Music Part 3 by Haim, Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa, Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone, and Folklore by Taylor Swift. I have not listened to about 3 of these albums, and out of the other 3, Everyday Life was far from the worst Coldplay album I've heard. But also I don't believe they've ever won. Like, have they ever won Album of the Year?
I don't think they have. No,
I don't think they have.
Sure.
And the time they do get nominated, it's probably for the most forgettable album ever. Not necessarily the worst. It's just a weird pick when there's been so many good releases. You know, a lot of people love that new Haim album. I personally didn't. I wasn't a fan. But I'm also not too shocked or not too disappointed by that, seeing that. It's whatever. If people did genuinely like the album, then it's a fair nod. Of course, I love me some Future Nostalgia. I'm happy seeing that there. And I think she has... I don't think she'll win it, but I think she has a better chance of winning this one than the first category. Then there's Hollywood Bleeding by Post Malone. Again, I love Posty, but I wouldn't say this was his best album. Aside from the singles, every other track is kind of forgettable. I can't think of what else, any of the deep cuts on that album at all. And Folklore by Taylor Swift, probably her best album in my opinion since 1985. Since the album 1985, not since the year 1985. And
Taylor Swift is a time traveler.
I really think she's going to get this one. I just feel like the Grammys will kind of gravitate towards her more so than anyone else here.
Yeah. And I'm in the same boat with the first few albums because I haven't listened to them. I know that I'm familiar with the Jhené Aiko album, but I don't think she'll win it. She may win it for the R&B category, but I don't think she'll win Album of the Year. Like, Coldplay, I don't think so. No, not a chance. And the last few, though, are the ones that I am the most familiar with. And, you know, I like Women in Music Part 3. I think I think it's a good album, but honestly, I don't think Haim will win it this time around. They're just going up against, like, 3 titans at this stage, you know, with Dua Lipa, Post Malone, and Taylor Swift. And out of those 3, I think Taylor Swift is going to win it, honestly, because you know, that album was massive for her. It was, I think it was her best selling, and it's just, I think she just did more impact with that album than Hollywood's Bleeding or Future Nostalgia. And personally, I'm rooting for Hollywood's Bleeding, even though personally, I do think it's the worst Post Malone album. But honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Future Nostalgia won it, because, well, personally, I wasn't crazy about the album, but to be fair, it was a big album for Dua Lipa, and there was some massive songs from that. So it wouldn't surprise me if that album won. So I wouldn't mind if any of those 3 albums in particular won. I'm rooting for Hollywood's Bleeding, but I think Folklore is going to take home Album of the Year.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep. Moving on to Song of the Year, we have Black Parade for Beyonce, The Box, Roddy Ricch, Cardigan, Taylor Swift, Circles, Post Malone, Don't Start Now, Dua Lipa, Everything I Wanted, Billie Eilish, I Can't Breathe, Her, and If the World Was Ending, JP Sax, featuring Julia Michaels. And for this category, this is kind of a tough one for me, because I feel like Circles, Don't Start Now, and The Box are the ones in particular that I would like to win. And I'm rooting more for The Box, because genuinely think that is a great Roddy Ricch song. It's his biggest song, and honestly, it's a good ass song. I really like The Box, and I appreciate it for the memes that came from it. But I think it's a safe bet that the same 3 that were nominated for the last category will win. either Post Malone, Dua Lipa, or Taylor Swift. I think I do think Dua Lipa could win this one as well. I think overall she may sweep at this Grammys. And Don't Start Now, I think, is the best song from Future Nostalgia, and is it fair to say it's her biggest song apart from that one song she did with Calvin Harris?
No, I wouldn't even say that one. I think the only one that might come close is New Rules from her last album. That song was absolutely everywhere. The one with Calvin Harris, I don't know if it really compares. I would say this is probably her best song. Not her most popular song yet. Not her best song. This isn't about opinions. The Grammys don't care about opinions.
True. But going by the Grammys, I think it's going to go to Dua Lipa or Post Malone, more than likely.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for Post Malone on this one as well, because I love the song Circles. I think it's great. And but that's personal bias. But going by what the Grammys going by how the Grammys are concerned, I think that that it's going to either go to Taylor Swift, Post Malone, or Dua Lipa. But I'm rooting for Post Malone. Also, my dad just brought me in a sandwich. Don't mind me eating.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I feel like there's a lot of songs here that could win it. I can honestly see Black Parade in the Box, either one of those taking it. Especially the Box. I feel like the Grammys might want to be woke and, name a rap song of the year. Especially in 2020, I feel like they just feel like they have some brown nosing to do. In general, I feel like they might do that. Of course, Taylor Swift, I think the Grammys will always gravitate towards her. I can definitely see Cardigan taking it. I don't really see Circles taking it, but if it did take it, I wouldn't be too surprised. Don't Start Now, again, this is the one that I would love to take it, but I don't know if it will. Billie Eilish, I mean, after last Grammys, you can't really leave her out of the conversation. She could easily take everything she's nominated for again. And in the last two, I'd be pretty surprised if either of those took it. My guess is probably Cardigan. I feel like that's going to win Song of the Year. But, I mean, I would be happy if it was Don't Start Now or The Box. Or that Billie Eilish track. Yeah, or even the Post Malone track. I'd be happy with a lot of these winning it. But I really do think Taylor's going to get this one.
Yeah,
Best new artist. Interesting one. I don't know some of the artists here, but the nominees are Ingress Andress, Phoebe Bridgers, Chica, Noah Cyrus, D-Smoke, Dojika, K-Tronada, and Megan Thee Stallion. Did I talk first? But did you talk first? Oh no, you talked first.
I talked first. The last one, so you go.
Ingress Andress, Chica, and K-Tronada. Never heard anything from them. I won't comment on those. Phoebe Bridgers is an artist that is close to my heart. I've been listening to her music for years. It's a bit weird seeing her under the Best New Artist tag. But, I mean, I'll take it. I guess she is a bit... With Punisher, she kind of got more spotlight than she did with her previous release. At least in the mainstream, not really in the indie scene. She's always been a pretty big name. But I just think it's so cool seeing her up there for one of the big, categories. I'm praying she gets it. I would be over the moon that she gets it. However, I don't think she will. Noah Cyrus, I have yet to hear a song from Noah Cyrus that isn't completely fucking drab, boring, uneventful, and shit. She's been releasing music for the last few years as well. I don't know. I don't recall any big hits from her in particular over the last year that would have propelled her to, be under Best New Artist. But she's here. Fucking hate her music. Don't really care for her voice. I don't know what to say. D-Smoke, completely indifferent towards. I'd be very surprised, but You know, it's the Grammys. They're full of surprises. Doja Cat, I think Doja Cat has definitely had a big break. I would not be surprised if she got this one. However, I don't think she's the best artist here. I think she's talented. I think she still has to kind of develop her own sound, because a lot of what she's doing is very indicative of, you know, other contemporary artists. But I wouldn't be too upset if she got it. And then Megan Thee Stallion, I think, is probably going to get this one. As I said, I do feel like Megan's going to go home with like 3 or 4 awards, if not more. I don't know how many she's nominated for. I don't recall. But
she's nominated for a few anyway.
Yeah, no, with everything that's happened this year with Savage and with WAP and the whole debacle with what's his name, Tory Lanez.
Fucking Tory Lanez. Literal cunt. Literal scum.
I just feel like I'd be happy for her if she got it, and of course I'll always stand behind Phoebe, but I think it'll be Megan Thee Stallion.
Alright, so there's a few people here that I'm not too familiar with, Ingrid Andress and D-Smoke in particular, but I am familiar with pretty much everyone else. I am rooting for Phoebe Bridgers. I think Punisher is an excellent album. And in general, she's had a pretty big year. This is probably the most popular that she's been. And, you know, Punisher is a key album in propelling her. So I'm rooting for her. I don't think she will win it, though. I agree with that sentiment. I'm rooting for her, but I don't think she'll win it. Chica has had a pretty decent... She had a decent year. She was... She released her EP there a while ago. I'm trying to remember the title of it, but I really enjoyed it. And she made it onto this year's XXL freshman list, and I think she was one of the better performers on that list. But I don't think she will win it. I feel like the Grammys favor, I feel like part of their ethos is favoring like massive success within the realm of the mainstream. And I don't think, and Chica hasn't really made that big of an impact, so I don't think that she'll win. Noah Cyrus, I don't know. I don't think she'll win. I don't know. I fail to see why she's even here either. I think her music is quite drab. Doja Cat had a pretty big year too. I think that even with Say So, that song was massive. It was everywhere. So I wouldn't mind if she won, but at the same time, I don't really care for Doja Cat all that much. And Kaytranada, I'm surprised is even here, because I really fuck with Kaytranada. I think he had some pretty great albums over the years. Bubba in particular, which came out last year, was really great in my opinion. And I would love him to win, but I don't think he will. And yeah, I think it's going to go to Megan Thee Stallion. She had a massive year with WAP and with Savage, and overall just everything that she's done this year that has propelled her to how big she is now will be key in probably favoring in the Grammys, favoring her. Mm. Also, fuck Drake's little brother, am I right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think Megan Thee Stallion will win this year for Best New Artist. More than likely she will win, in my opinion. Yeah. Alright, moving on to the pop categories. The Best Pop Solo Performance. We have Yummy, Say So, Everything I Wanted, Don't Start Now, Watermelon Sugar, and Cardigan. Why is Yummy here?
They're having a fucking laugh.
They are literally having a laugh. This was one of the worst songs of the year. I don't know what you mean.
I had to do a fucking quadruple take when I fucking seen that. I did the fucking thing they do in movies where they fucking wipe their eyes and look again. Why the fuck is Yummy there?
What? It's such a terrible song.
I mean,
why?
Especially considering, Best Pop Solo Performance, isn't this, supposed to kind of gravitate towards tracks with impressive vocals, or to specifically the vocals on a track? I thought that was the point of, the performance part of this. It's supposed to, represent the performance. What the fuck did Justin Bieber do on Yummy that warrants this? If it was Song of the Year or some shit like that, then I'd be like,
that would make sense being there. Yeah, but Grammys Best Pop Solo Performance,
sure, he got his fans to fucking play it on repeat overnight while they slept, so he could fucking tell them they're yummy in their dreams. So I wouldn't be too surprised if fucking...
Jesus Christ.
The streams alone got it up there, but I don't know. This is just fucking bizarre.
It is really bizarre.
And it's there for best.
It's
any
the worst.
If there was a category for worst, whatever, yeah. This category begins with best.
Come on, Yummy was easily one of the worst songs off that shit Justin Bieber album. It's the worst song of the year. It is one of my least favorite songs I have heard all year. It doesn't deserve to be up here. What did Justin Bieber even do on this track? To quote unquote get a best solo performance. He did nothing. This is nothing. It's such a monotonous waste of a track that's only here because it was propelled so big by his fucking fans. Thank fuck the box beat this cunt on fucking streams. It's such a bad song. And I will be so shocked if it actually wins, honestly. And the other ones, yeah, I could see all of these winning. Say So, massive song from Dojika. I think it's decent. Everything I Wanted. I mean, Billie Eilish was given the treatment last year, so she could win this one. Don't Start Now. Really, really great song once again. I think that this will probably more than likely win it above a few others. I want Watermelon Sugar to win. I think that is a very good Harry Styles song. Honestly, I would love it to win. It's been one of my favorite songs I think it was one of my favorite songs when I last heard Fine Line. And it's a really great song. It's been everywhere as well. And Cardigan, yeah, it's a big song from Taylor Swift off the new album. It will more than likely win. I feel like they will probably favour Taylor Swift in a few categories here. Yeah, that's just my takes overall. I would more than likely love to see Watermelon Sugar or Don't Start Now win.
Yeah, we've been through Yummy. If that wins, I'm done. Say So was a fine track. Given the popularity, I wouldn't be too surprised if it won. Billie Eilish is Billie Eilish. As we know from last year's, the Grammys fucking love Billie Eilish. So, if Everything I Wanted won, I wouldn't be too disappointed. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa, again. I'm a huge fan. So, I don't need to sound like a broken record and repeat myself. Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles is a new one here. And I think it's one of his best tracks. I wouldn't say it's my favorite one here. I don't imagine he'll win, although, I think Harry's been in the headlines twice in the last month. First for the time he just fucking showed up at some fan's house, and then the whole dress debacle, which people for some reason care about.
I mean, yeah. He's not the first to do it, people have done it before. Bowie did it, Cobain did it. Come on.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre. I don't know.
It is bizarre.
I just cannot imagine being that heated. And there's actual fucking shit that's going on.
It's a man wearing a dress. Okay, who cares?
I seen the headline everywhere, and I was like, "Is this really the news today?"
Is there really nothing going on? You could be reporting on a fucking war in Armenia or some shit, but nah.
Besides, he looks pretty badass.
He does. He looks fucking class in that.
So I feel like, Grammys do have a track record of giving it to people that are in the spotlight, so I wouldn't be, I'd be surprised, but not, extremely. And then Cardigan by Taylor Swift, I think, is going to win again. I do think it's going to be Taylor's year, which I'm not too disappointed about. Once again, for the fifth time, I have my fingers crossed for Don't Start Now, but I think it's going to be Cardigan again.
Alright.
Best Pop Duo / Group Performance. Undia, J Balvin, Dua Lipa, Bad Bunny, and Taney. Intentions, Justin Bieber featuring Quavo. Nice. Dynamite by BTS. Rain on Me, Lady Gaga with Ariana Grande. And Exile, Taylor Swift featuring Bon Iver. First track, I might have heard it once. I don't remember it, which, probably is not a good thing. It does not work in its favor for me personally. Intentions is shit, but its to its credit, it's one of the less shit tracks on Justin Bieber's new album, which is ultimately not saying a lot.
It really is.
Dynamite by BTS is one of my favorite pop songs of the year. They're using... actually, I checked this website yesterday. I think this was just listed as Best Pop Duo Performance, so I was a bit confused. It's listed as Best Pop Duo Group Performance. I was a bit confused by that. Rain on Me, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande. Did not care for that track whatsoever, but because of the two names on it, you can't count it out in the slightest. Exile, Taylor Swift featuring Bon Iver, a great track. With J Balvin's popularity, with Dua Lipa's popularity, and with Bad Bunny's popularity, and the Grammys clearly trying to kind of branch out into different cultures and nations, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave it to a reggaeton track just for the sake of it, just to save face. But ultimately, I don't think it really deserves it. Intentions, I'd fucking break my monitor. Oh no. Dynamite by BTS. I feel this is the only category, as far as I'm aware, that BTS are nominated for, at least from the major ones. And they're probably the biggest group in the world. I can see the Grammys giving it to them just to have the army on their side.
Yes. No, the army is just going to be up in arms as soon as they give it to fucking. I mean, the thing is, there's going to be a stan war on Twitter. Just watch. If it doesn't go, if it goes to either Lady Gaga or Taylor Swift, there's going to be a stan war.
I mean, either way, if it goes to BTS, Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift, stans are just going to be up in arms. And the Justin Bieber fans are, I don't know.
Do they care about the Grammys?
They probably don't know how to use Twitter. They're too busy playing Yummy on repeat. They're hypnotized.
They play it every night before they go to bed. Have it on repeat under their pillow so they can hear Justin saying "yummy, yummy" in their dreams.
Oh god, what a nightmare! Lady Gaga, yummy, stop! Strike! I don't want to get fucking. Rain on Me, Lady Gaga with Ariana Grande. As I said, I don't care for the track, but given it's Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande, and they're not really nominated for too much else, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Exile, Taylor Swift featuring Bon Iver. Bon Iver aside, I think Taylor Swift's name here alone is probably going to win her this Grammy. I do think it'll be really cool to see Bon Iver pick up a Grammy. But yeah, I think it's between that, Rain on Me, and Dynamite. I'm hoping it's Dynamite, but I definitely take Exile. The other three, no thank you. That's my take.
Anyways, my take, I feel like the Grammys may try to save face and give the award to either BTS or J Balvin. Not only because J Balvin has all of the big names on him with Dua Lipa and Bad Bunny, but also because it's a reggaeton track. Reggaeton has just become massive in the Latin pop sphere, and I'd say they're just going to try and save face with everything that's been going on with their questionable decisions. And they're probably just going to give it to them or BTS to save face. And I don't think that Un Dia deserves it. I don't think it's that good of a song. I don't even remember it. So it doesn't matter to me. Intentions, get the fuck off this list. It does not deserve to be on this list. It's a terrible track. It's one of those monotone ones off of that fucking Justin Bieber album. And that's not saying much. That whole album was monotone in general. So, I don't know. Get Intentions, nah. If it wins... I'm just going to be so shocked. Dynamite, I hope that wins. I think it's a great BTS song, and honestly, it'd be good. It would be good to see a group like BTS win in this kind of a category in the Grammys. It would be great. I think Rain on Me is also a good chance of winning, not only because of the names attached to it, but also because it was a pretty big song in general. And I don't care for it. I didn't care for anything off of that Lady Gaga album, so I don't know if I don't really give a shit if this wins. But at the same time, I don't know. But at the other time, I'd rather see something else win, and that something else is Exile, which I think is a great song off of Folklore, and also I'd love to see Bon Iver also pick up a Grammy. You know, it'd be a great thing to see. And out of all of it, yeah, I think it's either going to go to. It could go to any one of these except for Intentions, but I'd say more than likely it will either go to Lady Gaga or Taylor Swift, I would say.
Fair.
Alright, next category. Best Pop Vocal Album. We have Changes, Chromatica, Future Nostalgia, Fine Line, and Folklore. Changes, why? No, it's an awful album. It's an awful album. Well, the Grammys don't care about opinions, but if this wins over any of these other projects, like, this world is lost, like, straight up. Chromatica, I don't care for Chromatica, but it was a pretty big album for Lady Gaga, so it wouldn't surprise me if it won. Future Nostalgia, I don't care for the album overall, as some of you may know, but I wouldn't mind seeing it win over some of the other ones, you know, because, you know, Dua Lipa has pretty much had a big year and she will probably sweep for this Grammys. Fine Line, I think, is a great album. It's easily one of the best solo albums from the One Direction members, and all in all, it's a pretty good pop album. I wouldn't mind if it won. I'm actually rooting for this one to win. And Folklore, it will probably win. It was massive, obviously, and it's Taylor Swift, so there may be a bit of a bias here. So, more than likely, I'd say it will go to Taylor Swift, but I'm rooting for either Future Nostalgia or Fine Line.
Again, Justin Bieber, fuck off. Lady Gaga, Chromatica was a shit show of an album. Did not care for it at all. And in the last three are all albums I liked. Future Nostalgia is my pick of the bunch, and again, I'm rooting for Dua Lipa. Fine Line, it was also a very good album. Probably Harry's best. And, you know, I think that it has a number of big hits on it. And ultimately, that's all the Grammys really care about. And I can see it winning, but again, for like the sixth time, I think it'll be Taylor Swift. I think this is going to be her year. I haven't much else to comment on here.
Fair enough. Dude.
Oh, are we doing best dance recording?
Yeah.
Alright, best dance recording. On My Mind, Diplo and Side Piece. My High, Disclosure featuring Aminé and Sloth Thai. The Difference, Flume featuring Toro y Moi. Both of Us, Jada G. And 10%, K-Tronada and Caliuchis. First track, I don't recall, but I'm not that fond of Diplo's music, so I can't imagine I would be the biggest fan. My High, Disclosure, was a great track. Would also be cool to see Sloth Thai and Aminé get a nod there as well for their feature. Flume, I'm a fan of Flume. I don't recall that's the song in question here, but I do like Flume's music overall. Would be interesting if he got it. Don't know Both of Us. I've never heard it. I don't recall 10% either. From what I've heard, I have a feeling it's gonna be Diplo. But you know, I really want it to be Disclosure. That track was great. I don't really have any comments on anything else.
Well, I don't have much to comment on My Mind and Both of Us. I think On My Mind could win because it's Diplo, but I'm rooting for the other three tracks because I think they're genuinely great. My High in particular is a fucking banger, and I would love to see a Grammy go to both Aminé and Slow Thai within that sphere because genuinely they gave some great performances on that song and they're great artists overall. So I wouldn't mind if My High won. And I think The Difference is a really good track from Flume and Toro y Moi. I haven't played it in a while, but I remember back when it first came out, I loved the shit out of it. So I would love to see that track win. And 10% is easily the best song off of Bubba, which was the album that this came from. I think Kate Renata is a great producer, and I think that the chemistry they had with Kali Uchis on that track was brilliant. But I would say it's either going to go to Diplo or Disclosure. I would love to see Disclosure win it, but I feel like there's a chance for a few of these. Moving on to Best Dance and Electronic Album, we have Kick Eye by Arca, Planets Mad by Bor, Energy by Disclosure, Bubba by Kate Renata, and Good Faith by Madian. Now, I think Kick Eye was a decent album from Arca. I thought that, they could have a great chance of winning. I think I think it's fine. They're pretty big with who they work with, so I'd imagine that they would go to them. Bor, I'm not too familiar with this album in particular, so I don't know. I have nothing to comment on there.
Shake, dude.
Yeah, he is. I know, but I don't have much to comment on this album.
Fair.
Energy. I think Energy was a really good album from Disclosure, so I wouldn't mind that winning. Bubba, I would love to see that win. I thought that it was a great album from Kate Renata. And yeah, overall, I just have not much to say there. It's a great album. I think Kate Renata is a great producer. I'm rooting for him. And Good Faith, Madian, I'm not too familiar. I think I wouldn't mind seeing Arca, Disclosure, or Kate Renata win, but I think Disclosure are going to get it, given that they were put in the last category, as well as Kate Renata, who was in a few of them. So I think it's either going to go to those three.
Yeah, yawn. I haven't a lot to say about a lot of these, but I do agree that I think Disclosure are going to take it, which I would be happy with. It was a great album. Well, not necessarily great. I think it was a good album. But personally, I'd love if Arca took home a Grammy. I wasn't the biggest fan of Kick-Eye, but it would just be cool seeing Arca get a Grammy. I generally do like their sound. I don't know, I think their last album was a bit spotty. But, there's nothing else here that I'm too familiar with. I have to check out that Kate Renata album. It was released in December last year, I believe, so...
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I kind of wasn't really keeping up with new releases back then. I was just visiting my family for Christmas. So I must have missed out on that. But I don't know. I remember that Bauer album kind of getting some attention when it was released. I remember a lot of people did actually like it. I think I listened to it, but I do not remember a thing from it, so I can't really comment on that. And I have not heard Good Faith.
Fair enough.
Best rock performance. Now, this is a fucking confusing one.
It really is.
The nominees for best rock performance are Shamika by Fiona Apple, Not by Big Thief, Kyoto by Phoebe Bridgers, The Steps by Haim, Stay High by Brittany Howard, and Daylight by Grace Potter. What the fuck is their definition of rock?
I genuinely don't know. Like the one that just catches you off guard and just sticks out like a sore thumb is just Fiona Apple with Shamika.
Big Thief and Kyoto. I'm so confused.
Kyoto, I kind of get it because it's like it's like an indie pop rock flair to it. So that one I could see, but I don't see it for Big Thief or Fiona Apple, like at all.
Yeah, no, I think the Grammys just anything that isn't just mainstream pop, R&B, or rock, and that isn't traditional, is just rock, no matter what. Fiona Apple, Shamika, that is a stretch to call that rock.
It really is.
But at this point, what the fuck does rock even mean? Like, you can't. It's hard to define music as like rock when there's so many different, subgenres of rock.
I don't think it's that hard to define, but like apparently the Grammys don't know how to define it.
Not by Big Thief, that is definitely an indie folk song, but I don't think anything that isn't traditional folk is going to make its way into the folk category. Same with Phoebe Bridgers. Haim, that's more so indie pop, but I guess, I can't comment on the last two because I'm not familiar with them, but they're probably fucking like dance pop songs for all I know. my favorite track here would probably be Shamika, and I'd love if Fiona Apple got some sort of an award, because Fetch the Bolt Cutters is one of the best albums I've heard in the last few years. I'm a big fan of Big Thief. I've been listening to them for a long time, and it's cool to see them, I think they got a nod last year for the Grammys as well. It's cool to see them get one again, get recognized again. Kyoto by Phoebe Bridgers is one of my favorite songs of the year. Personally, I'm kind of rooting for this one. Either this or Shamika. The Steps was one of the better tracks off that Haim album, so I wouldn't be too disappointed if this one won. And then the last two, I have no comment on. It's just a weird category altogether.
Yeah, it really is. The thing is, though, I wouldn't mind if any of these top four would win. I am rooting for all of them, but I think it's gonna go to Haim more than likely, because their album was just massive overall, and this was one of the best songs off of that album, so I think they're probably going to take it away, but I would love to see any of them win. I think Shamika is a great track off of Fetch the Bolt Cutters. It's odd seeing Fiona Apple in Best Rock Performance, but I would love to see her take home a Grammy. Big Thief are great. I think Not is a great track. Wouldn't mind seeing them take home a Grammy. Kyoto is a great song off of Punisher, and I'm rooting for Phoebe Bridgers. It's hard to pick. I would love to see either Shamika or Kyoto win in particular, but I think The Steps might win this one. I'm not familiar with the last two songs.
I forgot to leave a prediction. I do think it will be The Steps. We'll see.
We'll see. Next, we have Best Metal Performance. We have Bum Rush by Body Count. We have Underneath by Code Orange. The In Between by In This Moment. Blood Money by Poppy. And Executioner's Tax Swing of the Axe Live by Power Trip. And I'm not familiar with the Bum Rush or the In Between, so I don't have much to comment on them. I think Underneath is a pretty great Code Orange song. I think it's one of the better tracks off of their new album. Blood Money by Poppy. I wouldn't mind seeing Poppy take home a Grammy. I think Blood Money was one of the best tracks off of I Disagree. And I would love to see Power Trip take home a Grammy as well. I think Executioner's Tax is a great track, and it would be a good tribute to Riley Gale, who unfortunately passed away this year. And I'd say it will probably go to Code Orange, because they have they were massive this year with their new album and their promotions from the WWE. So I think that Underneath will take it. But I would love to see either Power Trip. I would love to see Power Trip take it, or Code Orange in particular.
There's two here that I would think it would be so entertaining to see fucking Ice-T lift up a Grammy for Best Metal Performance for Bum Rush, or fucking Poppy lift up
Ice-T?
Yeah, he's the lead singer of Body Count. It's his fucking metal band. You don't know this? They've been around since the 90s.
Dude, I didn't know that. What the fuck, man?
Well, there you go.
I need to check this out. What the fuck?
And
it's incredible. Are they a new metal band?
I don't think it's new metal. I think it's just thrash.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like thrash rap metal. Blood Money is probably the best track off that Poppy album, and I think it would be cool to see Poppy take a Grammy. I wouldn't have predicted maybe 2 years ago, when Poppy Computer came out, that her first Grammy would be Best Metal Performance, but we're here. Underneath is probably the best track off that new Code Orange album, and I'd be happy to see Code Orange, take a Grammy home, get the attention they deserve. Executioner's Tax is an odd one, considering that song came out in 2017. I think this is the only category here where a live performance of an older song is making it under a category that clearly states Best New Recording, which I guess it is, since it's a live recording. I do feel like there's a reason why it was nominated. The passing of Riley Gale, obviously, being that. And I do think that, since it made it here, I think the Grammys will probably give it to Power Trip as just, a sign of respect of sorts. They've done it before. And yeah, that is pretty much and if Riley didn't pass this year, I would have been very confused about that one, but I think it makes sense given the circumstances.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm rooting for Power Trip, and I do think they'll get it. Okay. Another confusing one. Best rock song. We have again Kyoto by Phoebe Bridgers. We have Lost in Yesterday by Tame Impala. We've Not by Big Thief, Shamika by Fiona Apple, and Stay High by Brittany Howard. So 4 are the same as we had when it came to best rock performance, which is a bit confusing. The categories are just a bit odd. Like, I suppose the last one is mostly based off the performance, and if I can retract that, I should go to Shamika, to be honest, or Big Thief when it comes to that. When it comes to overall song, I'll be rooting for Kyoto. It's my favorite song of the bunch. Although it's cool to see Tame Impala get some sort of recognition for what was a pretty big album. And Lost in Yesterday, probably the best track on the album, lead single. And it makes sense to see him here. Not it's rock, yeah, sure.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't really.
I'd call it psychedelic pop, but
yeah, that's what I categorize it as. Tame Impala isn't much of a rock project anymore. Like, they abandoned that in like 2015. Like, it makes no sense being here to me.
Grammys are fucking weird. I still have fucking memories. Go ahead.
I think of all the Tame Impala like songs from that album, Lost in Yesterday, really? You could have picked Posthumous Forgiveness. You even could have picked what's that one song from it? I don't even. Oh, Craig's Dead.
It's fine.
Yeah, like, I don't even remember. There was one song from it that I should have been there too, but like, I don't know. Lost in Yesterday doesn't make sense being here. I get it was a big single, but like, there were bigger singles. Like, Borderline was bigger. I think Posthumous Forgiveness should have been here instead, because I think that's genuinely the best song off of the Slow Rush, which personally I think is underrated. And, I'm happy at least to see Kevin is getting some recognition for Tame Impala. So there's that. Were you finished with yours, or?
Yeah, no, I was just saying that I'm kind of numb to this, because I still remember like the 2017 Grammys when Metallica just did not get any fucking nominations for Best Metal Album or Best Metal Performance for Hardwired.
They didn't?
Yeah, but they got into the Best Rock category, which is so confusing.
What?
Like, the metal category was just like, the only name I recognized there, I think, was Meshuggah or something, and then just a bunch of bands I've never heard of, and then for rock category, it was Nirvana. I mean, Metallica was there.
Nirvana.
Yeah, Nirvana.
That's
so the Grammys. I don't know how they decide.
That makes no sense. Like, Metallica were probably they're probably the biggest metal band of all time.
Metal why aren't they fucking name?
Literally, why aren't they in the metal category for that? But enough about 2017. Let's just talk about
the metal category. The nominees were so shit. Like that, Metallica would have gotten that without a fucking doubt. But the rock one that year was pretty packed with like a lot of big names. So Metallica just got fucking snubbed completely.
Fuck's sake, man. Are you done with yours, or? Yeah, best rock song. I'm still not familiar with that song from Brittany Howard, but based off of best rock song, I think it's going to go to Phoebe Bridgers for this one, because that's like the closest thing to rock from the 4 that I'm familiar with. Lost in Yesterday, it's a psychedelic pop song, but based on the popularity from the Slow Rush, I could see Kevin Parker taking home an award for this one. I'm glad Big Thief is still getting more recognition. It's still a great song. I would love to see that win, but I don't know. I don't think that will win. And once again, I would love to see Fiona Apple take home a Grammy. But like, it's just such an odd inclusion into the rock category. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm rooting for Phoebe Bridgers, I'm rooting for Phoebe Bridgers for this one.
Yeah.
Then next we have best rock album. We have Hero's Death, Fontaine's DC. We have Kiwanuka, Michael Kiwanuka, Daylight, Grace Potter, Sounds of Fury, Sturgill Simpson, and The New Abnormal, The Strokes. And I think I'm rooting for A Hero's Death. Irish post-punk band. I am rooting for this album. I honestly, I love that album as well. I think it's great all in all, and it would just be great to see a band like Fontaines DC take home the Grammy. That would be awesome. Kiwanuka makes no sense being here. It's not a rock album. It's a soul. It's like a neo soul album. Like, why? I love this album to death. I would love to see it win, and it might win because it did win Album of the Year at the Brits. I think, did it, or not the Brits? The what was it? The Mercury Prize.
Mercury Awards, yeah.
It would probably win this. I'm not familiar with Sound of Fury or Daylight. The new Abnormal, I think that will win. Because the Strokes have been around for forever now. They're one of the, I think, and since their new album was as big as it was, like especially with their appearances on SNL and stuff like that, I think the Strokes could take it home this year, and I would love to see the Strokes take it home. I would love to see either any of those three albums I mentioned take it home, but I think it's going to go to the Strokes.
Just like you, I'm heavily rooting for A Hero's Death here. I think that was one of the best albums I've heard this year. Probably the best post-punk album. I'm thinking, and I do think
I'd have to re-listen to like Idols and Proto Martyr again just to compare them.
No, I think A Hero's Death takes the cake there for me personally. Kiwanuka, not really a rock album. It was okay. I wasn't too crazy about it. Daylight, I've never heard. Sound and Fury, I think this does kind of belongs more in the country category, but I do think that rock is fair. The new Abnormal by the Strokes, good to see the Strokes here. I think the Grammy might go to Michael Kiwanuka. As you said, he already won the Mercury Prize. The powers that be are already in his favor. I'd love to see Fontaines DC take it. I'd be happy to see the Strokes take it, but I do think it'll be Michael Kiwanuka. I also wouldn't be too surprised if it was Sturgill Simpson. I think he's already won a few Grammys. I think it wouldn't be too far-fetched, but come on, Fontaines DC, let's go, lads.
Let's go, come on, Irish boys, yeah.
Best alternative music album, very broad category. Fetch the Bolt Cutters, Fiona Apple. Hyperspace, Beck. Punisher, Phoebe Bridgers. Jamie, Brittany Howard. The Slow Rush, Tame Impala. Of course, the best album here for me by a landslide. As much as I love that new Phoebe Bridgers album, and it feels like a fever dream seeing her nominated 4 times. And any Grammy she can get, I'll be rooting for her. I do think that Fetch the Bolt Cutters is the best album here, if I'm being honest. Any bias aside, I do think Fetch the Bolt Cutters is the best album here. And best alternative, I suppose that's so broad that you could probably fit anything that isn't just straight up pop in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair enough. I'd be cool to see Fiona take it. I think she deserves it. Hyperspace, one of the most forgettable albums I've heard in the last few years, but given the Grammys just have a thing for Beck, sure, they give him Album of the Year in like 2013 for what was not really a commercially successful album, for what was a bit of a flop at first. They just gave him Album of the Year, which is I remember everyone that year was kind of like, right, fair. I think it was 2014 actually, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just give it to Beck again. They clearly have a thing for him. Have not heard that Brittany Howard. And the Slow Rush, while not my personal favorite Tame Impala album, I think was decent, and I do think that alternative is probably the best category for it.
Yeah.
I think that it'll go to either Fiona Apple or Beck. I wouldn't be too surprised if it went to Tame Impala. I'd be quite surprised if it went to Phoebe Bridgers, but I'd be very happy. And yeah, that's my take.
For this category in particular, like you mentioned, the Grammys do have a bit of a Beck bias, so I wouldn't be surprised if it went to Beck, and I'd say it will more than likely win. I would love to see either the Slow Rush, Punisher, or Fetch the Bolt Cutters win, especially Punisher. I think I'm optimistic that Phoebe Bridgers could win it, but I don't know. I think it could either go to the Slow Rush or Beck or Beck's album. I think it would go to them. Brittany Howard's album, Jamie, I haven't heard it, so I can't really comment on that. I would love to either see it go to the three that I'm familiar with, but I'd say it'll either go to Tame Impala or Beck, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Also, it's worth noting that every single artist nominated for Best Rock Performance was female, which is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Grammys are getting their shit together, maybe.
Maybe. Question mark.
Question mark.
Alright, next category we are covering is, we're moving on to the rap categories. And for Best Rap Performance, we have Deep Reverence from Big Sean, Bop from DaBaby, What's Poppin' by Jack Harlow, The Bigger Picture from Lil Baby, Savage, Megan Thee Stallion, and Dior Pop Smoke. And there's a few of these that could potentially win. They could potentially give it to either Dior or Deep Reverence because, you know, both artists involved are, you know, it's both artists that are basically on the tracks of past Nipsey Hussle on Deep Reverence and Dior from Pop Smoke. I think they may give it to Pop Smoke, honestly, because, you know, his popularity exploded after his death, so it could potentially go there. But the ones I'm rooting for, I think it could go to What's Poppin', because, you know, that was a massive track for Jack Harlow, who's the one that blew him up, and I wouldn't be surprised if it went to him. I would love to see Lil Baby win. I think The Bigger Picture is his best song. It's one of the most woke songs of the year, and like, plus, I mean, with everything that's going on this year, they could probably give it to him to save face. And honestly, I would love to see Lil Baby win. Megan Thee Stallion could win as well. I think Savage could win as well. She may sweep, like you mentioned, but I'm rooting for Lil Baby, surprisingly. But I feel like it will either go to Deep Reverence, Dior, or The Bigger Picture. I'd say more will probably either go to Dior or The Bigger Picture, I think.
Yeah, I can see every track here taking it. I do think Dior is one of the favorites, you know, given the fact that Pop passed away. I do like The Bigger Picture. I'd be happy if it took the Grammy, but I do think that it's going to go to Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce with Savage. It's probably my favorite track there, if I'm being honest. And, you know, I think that Megan's probably going to take home every award she's nominated for, similar to Taylor Swift. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Harlow or Big Sean, Nipsey Hussle took it as well. But I think my money's probably on Savage.
Alright.
Best Melodic Rap Performance. Rockstar, DaBaby featuring Roddy Ricch. Laugh Now, Cry Later, Drake featuring Lil Durk. Lockdown, Anderson .Paak. The Box, Roddy Ricch. Highest in the Room, Travis Scott. I think my favorite track on there is probably The Box, and I also think that The Box is probably most likely going to take this. Roddy Ricch is nominated for 2 different things here, but I really do think The Box was such a big track for him. I don't think anything here would pass it out. I'd be surprised. You know, I wouldn't mind Travis Scott taking home a Grammy. Please not Drake. I wouldn't mind Anderson .Paak taking one. I even wouldn't mind DaBaby taking one. But my money is on Roddy Ricch.
Alright. Everyone here has a big chance of winning. I think Rockstar is probably the best song off of that shit DaBaby album. Laugh Now, Cry Later was massive for Drake because it's Drake. I hope he doesn't win it, but he probably will. Lockdown, I think, is the best song on here. I think it's one of the best political songs of the year, and overall, it's a really great song from Anderson .Paak. I would like to see him win, but going up against everyone else, I'm not so sure. The Box, yeah, that has a high chance of winning. It's a great Roddy Ricch song, and it was just massive for him, so that will probably win. I think that or Rockstar would win. Highest in the Room, I mean, I don't think Highest in the Room is like a great Travis Scott song. I don't think it's even a good Travis Scott song.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, even like after the outrage that happened last year, was it 2 years ago or last year? With the whole debacle where...
Dude, time's fucked in my head, I don't know.
Well,
Could be
essentially...
5 years ago for all I know.
Well, Cardi B's album Invasion of Privacy won Best Rap Album over Astro World. There's a bit of outrage over that, so I feel like...
I think
2019 probably.
2019, yeah.
Yeah, they may give it to Travis Scott just as compensation, but I don't know. I don't think it'll win. I'm rooting. I think it's gonna either be. I'd say it's probably gonna go to Drake. As much as I hate to say it, it's probably gonna go to Drake. But I would love it. I would love to see it go to either DaBaby, Anderson .Paak, or Roddy Ricch. Especially either Anderson .Paak or Roddy Ricch. Then, moving on to best rap song, we have The Bigger Picture, Lil Baby, The Box, Roddy Ricch, Laugh Now, Cry Later, Drake and Lil Durk, Rockstar, DaBaby and Roddy Ricch, Savage, Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. Pretty much the same songs we've seen last time. Yeah, I would love to see again The Bigger Picture winning. I would love to see The Box winning. I wouldn't mind seeing. I would actually like to see Megan Thee Stallion win this. I wouldn't be surprised if DaBaby won it. Wouldn't be surprised if Drake won it either, but I don't want Drake to win. So my money is on The Bigger Picture, honestly, for this one. I have nothing else to say. I'd be repeating myself either way.
Yeah, I can see all of these tracks taking it, but again, I think that Megan Thee Stallion is going to take home everything she's nominated for. I think she's going to take home the Grammy for Savage. I also would not be very surprised if The Box took it. But I would be quite surprised if anything else took it. Although it's possible, just given the circumstances. I think it's going to be Savage. Best rap album. Black Habits, D-Smoke, Alfredo, Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, Jay Electronica, A Written Testimony, Nas, King's Disease, and Royce da 5'9", The Allegory. I've one obvious winner here. I know that Mick agrees. Alfredo is by far the best album on here. I can't remember much from that D-Smoke album, if I'm being honest. I really did not like that Jay Electronica album. Nas, King's Disease was decent. I don't think it holds a candle to Alfredo. And The Allegory was shit. So I think it's gonna. I do have a feeling it's gonna be Nas. Just given the status he has, but I would love if Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist won a Grammy. So I'm rooting for Alfredo.
I'm in a similar boat here. I think Alfredo is one of the best rap albums of the year. I think it's one of Freddie Gibbs' best albums. I would love to see him win. I would love to see The Alchemist win a Grammy. Not only because this was like a quality rap album overall, but just, I would love to see in general Freddie Gibbs get a Grammy. He's genuinely one of the best rappers in the last few years. So obviously I'm rooting for Freddie Gibbs on that one. I haven't heard the D-Smoke album, so I've nothing to comment on. A Written Testimony, I like that album, but I don't think Jay Electronica is going to get it. Nas is probably the best contender against Alfredo for this one because, Nas is a legend, and they may just show somewhat of a bias for Nas, so Nas could potentially get it. I don't see The Allegory winning at all. I like The Allegory. I thought it was a pretty good album, but nah, it's not going to go to Royce. I doubt it. It's either going to go to Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist or Nas, and I'm rooting for Freddie Gibbs. Okay, what's the next category here?
There's a lot of odd ones. I'm
It was
I'm a
on the
bit.
list.
I'm scrolled down a bit and I can see that. I'll just briefly mention that Flying Lotus is nominated for Producer of the Year for It Is What It Is.
I would love
among
to see
some-
I would love to see Fly Low win that.
among some among Jack Antonoff. So, I think
Actually, I
Jack
think-
Antonoff is gonna take it, if I'm being honest. But it'd be cool if
I
Flying
think-
Lotus took it.
I think there was a category where Thundercat was nominated too, so I would love to see Thundercat take home
Yeah,
a Grammy.
that was R&B, I think.
Yeah, I would love to see him take home that one, but I don't think he'd win that one. I think Beyonce may sweep the R&B section. She's nominated for a few of them. I think best folk album. What am I saying? Best folk album. So yeah, there's Bonnie Light Horseman, self-titled. Thanks for the Dance, Leonard Cohen. Song for Our Daughter, Laura Marling. Saturn Returned, The Secret Sisters, and All the Good Times. Is it Gillian or Gillian Welch?
I don't
Gillian
know.
Welch and
Gillian,
David
I think.
Rawlings. I'm only familiar with the first 3 albums from here. Bonnie Light Horseman, self-titled. I thought it was a pretty good album. I'd say that could win, but I feel like it's either going to go to Leonard Cohen or Laura Marling. I think Laura Marling's album was really good, and Leonard Cohen was a legend, and given he passed away a couple of years ago, they could give it to him. But I'm rooting for Laura Marling. I would like Laura Marling to win, but I'd say it's gonna go to Leonard Cohen. I think it's gonna go to Leonard Cohen.
I also think it's going to go to Leonard Cohen. I wouldn't mind if Laura Marlin took it. I wouldn't mind if Bonnie Light Horseman took it. But yeah, I do agree. I agree with you there. I don't think there's much else, to be honest. I think we've covered everything.
I think we covered everything we wanted to. Yeah.
Well, not everything, just everything we wanted to. There's a lot.
There's a lot to cover here,
There's a
and
lot here,
obviously
like best spoken word album that
best comedy album.
which Flea from
Wait,
Red Hot
Flea?
Chili Peppers, I think, is nominated for best spoken word.
Flea.
Acid for the Children, a memoir.
That's incredible.
Search for
I need to hear that.
Yeah, that's Flea.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I think we covered everything that we needed to cover.
Yep.
Yeah. So apologies that we couldn't cover everything. There was so much to come out, and we didn't hear everything, obviously. So, but we got through what we wanted to go through, and I think we've given some pretty solid predictions. I think Dua Lipa will sweep the Grammys this year, and I'd say Roddy Ricch could sweep a few categories as well. So there's definitely it's unpredictable. It's hard to imagine what could happen, but we're going to have to see in late January.
Yep, I agree. I feel kind of confident in a lot of those, but we'll see. As always, it'll be a shit show, and as always, we'll be disappointed. That's those two things are given.
That's the nature of the Grammys.
All we can do is pray.
Yep, that's all we can do. There's not much you can do besides that. So yeah, I think we'll just end it here. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode of the Taped Podcast. Let us know down below who you think is going to win in some of these categories. Who are your favorites to win, and justice for the weekend. And yeah, we'll see you. I've been MickyT.
Peace.
This has been Nostalgia.
Yep.
See you.
Bye bye.